In Maya, I frame the subject by pressing the F key on a keyboard. By default, when I hold down the Alt key and left mouse click and drag around in the viewport, the camera will orbit around the subject. With the camera selected, I zero out the center of interest, but Maya has a bug in that it won't let you type 0 here. Instead, click on the center of interest text and middle mouse click and drag over the viewport until the number is 0. Also, I like to work with auto key enabled to speed up my workflow. I'll set keyframes on the camera by holding Shift and pressing the letters WE on the keyboard. Advance the playhead and move the camera by holding down Alt while left mouse clicking and dragging in the viewport. Notice that the camera no longer orbits around the subject, but behaves like a fluid head camera. Now all you do is keep your subject in frame throughout the shot by panning and tilting through your camera's viewport. Next, clean up the keyframes by adjusting the timing and spacing of the curves. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. In Blender, I frame the subject by pressing the period key on a keyboard. By default, when I click and hold the middle mouse button and drag around the viewport, the camera will orbit around the subject. I use the default camera controls to frame the subject before switching over to a fluid head style movement. With the camera selected, lock down the translation channels of the camera. Now, when I middle mouse click and drag around the viewport, the camera behaves like a fluid head mounted on a tripod. Next, I set the keyframes of the camera, keeping the subject in frame. You can hover over the rotation channel and press the letter I on your keyboard to set a keyframe for the rotations. However, I prefer to click this circle button and turn on auto key for a faster workflow. That way I don't have to manually continue setting keyframes as I go. The only drawback is that auto key will create keyframes on the translations even though they are locked. Now I have my keys set. If I play back the camera animation, it doesn't look very good. You still have to clean up the keyframes to adjust the timing and spacing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. In Unreal Engine, I frame the subject by pressing the F key on a keyboard. I use the default camera controls to frame the subject before switching over to a fluid head style movement. Next, I set a keyframe on the camera's transform channel. I also have auto key enabled here to help speed up my workflow. Advance the playhead in time and then press and hold the right mouse button while clicking and dragging around in the viewport. By default, Unreal Engine has a fluid head style movement built in. Now all you have to do is keep your subject in frame throughout the shot. If you play the animation back now, the camera move won't look good. You still have to clean up the keyframes to adjust the timing and spacing. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Cheers.